Hello, and welcome to our book study, Rise of the False Gods. Tonight, we're going to hopefully finish our chapter on religion and spirituality. As you can see, Tish has decided that she wants to be here with me when I start the video. As a matter of fact, she came out as it was getting to be time and started to really give me the word about, are you getting ready? And I am. So please welcome and know that your comments and questions are so welcome. I love to get them. If I can't see them when I'm online, I will get back to you with them, later on. And let's see, I always like likes. You can subscribe and you can go to YouTube to make sure you don't miss a video. And so I think we shall proceed. And if we get done, then tomorrow we can start on evil as a contagious disease. But let's see if we can get that far tonight. I'm beginning on the top of page 102. Now, at our last gathering, we talked about what I learned as I grew on my spiritual path was not to invalidate other faiths, but to be clarified by understanding the spiritual principles they're all based on. So what I experienced, as I stated earlier, was not a matter of conversion. So I was not converted, and I don't wish to convert anyone else. I just invite them to take the principles and apply them to their own church or religious experience. And if you're not happy in a church, you might want to look at that and find a church you are happy in, because God's intention for us is to be on our path where we belong, striving to know and love and serve God more and be blessed by the spiritual powers we're endued with. And we can't, if we're in a place that we don't agree with what they are teaching, we either have to seek to understand it at a deeper level, maybe talk to the clergy person or something, or find another path. Sometimes if we're not happy there, we're just not on the right path. Okay, and your path and my path don't necessarily have to be the same path. That's what's so exciting. Spiritual growth is not linear, okay? It's abstract, so that we can be on our path and be in a religion very different than someone else's. They're on their path, we're on ours. Each individual, that all roads lead to Rome thing. If you are aligned with the spiritual path, you'll get there a lot faster and be a lot happier in your life. Okay. So, like I say, excuse me, it was not conversion, it was confirmation. What I believed inside was being confirmed in what I was experiencing. I already knew this stuff when I heard it and it resonated and said, yes, that's right. Yes, that's true. So you see, did you know the word educate, one of the meanings of it is to draw out that which is already there? And that's kind of exciting because we have so much wisdom in ourselves. We are so genius, and when we align with spirit, we can let that manifest. In the Bible, we read earlier, I will put my law within them. I will write it on their hearts. That's from Jeremiah 31:33. One of the meanings of the word heart in the Bible is the combined thinking and feeling faculties. So it is our, we talk about it in the 4 quadrants of consciousness. Higher is intuitive sensing, and lower is human thoughts and human emotions. Okay. This is the intuitive part of us. It knows right from wrong. We do inherently know right from wrong. We just do. And even if we can convince ourselves through some kind of excuse we give ourselves that it's really okay, that doesn't mean it's really okay. Our inside, our moral compass will tell us if we are not on the path. Sometimes we have such a hunger, we kind of will go off the path intentionally, and then all of a sudden we wake up and go, what was I thinking? The knowledge of good and evil, the knowledge of spiritual principle was in us at birth. In a thing called The Traveler by James Dillett Freeman, it said, our life did not begin at birth. It is not of the earth. That we are eternal spiritual beings having a human experience. And the quality of our experience will determine our development of our spiritual potential. And the ideal is to fulfill our potential through spiritual mastery. Okay, religion serves as a framework through which we express our spiritual beliefs. I believe that religion evolved from an inner desire to connect or to reconnect with something that we just know is true. Some people say we are homesick for heaven. We want to be, we know there is a state of consciousness that is grounded and peaceful and serene and secure and safe. And that's what we really long for. And I believe from that, religion kind of evolved. However, I think something Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, called this desire the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. Isn't that beautiful? The onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. Definitions of impulse include psychic drive or instinctual urge, and the scientific definition, a sudden flow of electrical current in one direction. Scientists claim that all is energy. Everything we see is energy. Energy, even what we call matter, is really a solidified form of energy. It's just it's vibrating at a very different level, and the higher the level of vibration, the lighter the manifestation is. That's why they say angels can fly, because they take themselves lightly. And maybe we should too, because I think if we took ourselves a little more lightly, we'd probably find that we are happier. Okay. Everything we see, scientists claim all is energy. Everything we see, which can explain the impulse to express, to press into manifestation our spirituality. We're all in different stages of spiritual evolution or transformation. As seekers, we'll find we are all drawn to different religions or spiritual paths. We emanate a vibrational energy that draws to us, and I also would say draws us to the path that will fulfill our needs. The axiom, like attracts like, is proven if we allow it. And we can only allow it when we are being our authentic selves. So don't think you've got to be something different when you're in church, that you should be able to be the fullness of the person that you were always meant to be, that you like to be, wherever you are. It took decades for me to consider the possibility I was not on the right path for me. While I remained in the religion I'd followed all my life, there was the constant feeling inside that something was missing. It just, and I was a little bit of a spiritual explorer. I, dabbled in astrology and Edgar Cayce, and I was all that time seeking to find my spiritual path. When I found the path that was right for me, which was unity, I realized it became real for me the moment I heard the daily word, what I'd always been looking for. I thought, oh my gosh, somebody thinks the same way I do. Now, I didn't jump in with 2 feet immediately. It took several months. And I explored the teaching. And as I explored the teaching, I found that it supported what I believed. It didn't detract from it. And it also helped me understand other faiths. That's very important. As I see it, religions emerge from the spiritual experience of an individual, like Jesus or Buddha, Muhammad. The individual shares their experience, teaching the wisdom gleaned, and developing a group of followers who resonate with the message. Now, even my main guy, Jesus, my way shower, my brother, my savior, I hear his teaching and it resonates in my heart and my mind according to my level of spiritual growth, where I'm at in my consciousness. And it can also, the same teaching can relate to someone else in an equal way, only different. It can move them the same, but very differently. And as we mature spiritually and as we grow, you're going to find that you will read a passage of the Bible, of the scriptures, and you will believe it and understand it and see it one way, and then as you grow and develop and change, you will see it with new eyes. That's why the Bible is called the living Word of God. It lives in us. We live through it. And I'm not going to go into the, if people say, do you believe in the literal interpretation of the Bible? And we always say there's 3 levels. Literal. I've got to plug in my phone. I'm sorry. Hold on a sec. There we go. Literal, moral, and spiritual. So as far as the literal, we have to understand that the teaching came from divine mind to our mind. And depending on how our mind received it, according to our spiritual awareness, we interpret it and wrote it. It doesn't make it untrue, but it didn't necessarily occur the exact way it's written. Now, that's another whole thing. We're not going there. This is not metaphysical Bible interpretation. Who knows? Maybe we'll do that down the road. Okay, got to go back to where I was. Okay, so they develop a group of followers who resonate. That resonate, how resonate is something how you feel it. It goes, it's like a positive or a negative vibration that flows through us. When it's positive, it resonates. It has resonance. And we say, yes, and that is our path. Now, some people say that unity is, it's too easy because we say that we don't believe in an actual physical location or geographical location that is called heaven or hell. However, I know that by right of consciousness, we can create a very hellish experience. which in fact is at the core of war and discontent and uprisings and protests. It is this energy where we are not in harmony where we want to be. So that's creating hell. We also create heaven by coming to an understanding of how spiritual principle works and elevating ourselves. It says Jesus commissioned his apostles. Now I'd like you to think about the word commissioned. Let's break it down. Co, which means there's two parts, and mission. They had an intention. So Jesus kind of said to his followers, come. I am going to teach you something, and I want you to take it far and wide. Bring others this really good news. Because that's the word gospel. That's what the word gospel means. It means good news. That God loves you, you're a child of God, and all things are possible for those who love God, who love all that is good. So his apostles and disciples were committed. They were connected to sharing the teaching. And this evolved into Christianity. So you have to know that to be a Christian was at one time an insult. Oh, you're one of those Christians. Because after all, Jesus was Jewish. And he took the Jewish teaching, the Hebrew teaching, and he brought the heart to it. The Jewish teaching is like the letter of the law, and Jesus brought the heart, but it was misinterpreted to think that he was trying to take away the law. But even he said, I have not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. We're not going into Bible history today either. Let us move on. I'm just explaining how we got here. Okay. In religious history, a common occurrence is after the death of the inspired teacher, the message becomes either adulterated or expanded by the leaders as they interject their interpretation. Now that's where things get tricky, because we did, first of all, like when they use the term the Holy Catholic Church, holy means whole, and Catholic means for everybody. It means inclusive, and so it's meant to be inclusive. But as time went on and people had different versions of this teaching, they split apart into different denominations. Okay. So what happens is the core teachings get lost as we add to them. Remember, we talked about there was the 10 Commandments. Okay, that's pretty good. Basic guidelines for life. People couldn't deal with those. They kept looking for loopholes and making changes. Got watered down. And it got watered down on one hand and overemphasized in the other. That's another chapter we're going to get to shortly. But anyway, so the essence, the core teaching got lost. Now we can see this happening today. The lines around the core teachings have become fuzzy. Long-held values of faith groups are being watered down and adulterated. A common cause of this is an attempt to keep the numbers in attendance. As a minister, I can share this with you. You will be talking in a group of other ministers, and they will say, so, how many people you got attending? And I've always ministered to very small churches. And I'd kind of like, is your congregation growing? Yes, they are, but they're growing in spirit. Doesn't have to be numbers. The number of people in a church does not determine its success. I almost did not go to Unity the first time because the church was so tiny, and I was used to these big old Catholic churches. The people must be growing. If the people are growing, the congregation will grow. But you have to remember, some churches are full grown small, like me. 4'10.5", but I'm just as full grown as anybody else. So don't measure a church by its size. That's very important. We want to avoid populism. When we try to please the people, and we do that by watering down the teaching or sugarcoating it or trying to make it, that's why even some unity ministers are not in alignment with what I teach when I do these classes, because I am probably more conservative than a lot of others. It's not right or not wrong. It's like Jesus said, my sheep know my name. They know my voice. They know my voice. They hear my voice and they follow me. So I'm hoping that as I speak to others, those who are on this path with me will hear my voice. Those are the people that want the teaching that I have to offer. I cannot be Joyce Meyer. I cannot be Howard Caesar. I cannot be Norman Vincent Peale. I can only be the best me I know how to be. And let me tell you something, my dear friends, when I teach because I pray that I will be able to touch your life and uplift it and bring you closer to your relationship with God. Okay. Sometimes, I don't know, hang on a minute. I think I might have gone by it. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Churches have fallen victim to people-pleasing by providing entertainment instead of firm spiritual teaching. We went through this thing. One of the worst things we ever had was when church growth people were saying that you had to reach into the young people. Yes, young people are very important. We would reach in, and we had a conference one time, and we did a spiritual, and for me, was not a good experience. Our thing is to preach the message Spirit's giving us and let those who are in alignment with that message come along. Entertainment is fine. I got a very funny story to tell you. I've told you that I've gone to, I watch Joyce Meyer, even though I don't theologically agree with her completely a lot. But there are a lot of good basic unity kind of teachings that she gives. Well, I went to see her in person one time. I mean, she packs them in, 20, 30,000 in the stuffed into a building. And she's got to be going nuts right now because of COVID, she has to do these little things in the studio with just her. But they were singing praise songs. And when I went in, and they're singing, and they got the things going up there, and the people are raising their hands, and they're, and they're just going wild. And I'm in there like, oh, okay, a little shy there. About 15 minutes later, I'm in there, and I'm singing, and I'm raising my hand. And I was uplifted spiritually. Now, you can go somewhere, and the music can move you, but if the message and the music are not supportive of each other, you come out missing something. So you can't just entertain the people. You want to feed them a good, strong spiritual meal. So when you go to church, if you're not getting spiritual food, maybe you're in the wrong restaurant. Maybe you can find one that speaks, So there's times when the entertainment is good, and there's time when it's not. But you don't want people just to come to church because they are being entertained. That means they come every week, they throw a couple bucks in the plate and feel that is their thing. You want to grow spiritually, okay? When you grow spiritually and you find that place you're growing spiritually, you will want to stay there and go back every day. The core mission of religion is to provide people a means of expressing their beliefs, of knowing, loving, and serving God. to worship, which means to give worth to, all that matters most. It's about acknowledging something greater than ourselves. This is not what the false gods want. The false gods want our attention. They want us to be shopping on Sunday morning, or sleeping late, or getting over a hangover, or, attending to the carnal, monetary, materialistic, that's the lower nature. Again, when I say false gods, remember, I'm not talking about entities. I'm talking about states of consciousness within ourselves and within the collective. So don't be making them little devils or whatever. Remember, this is a state of consciousness. Our consciousness is energy, and it is constantly evolving or devolving if we don't stay on top of things. So false gods are our lower nature, materialism, and carnality, and they want the manifest world to be our good, our sense of false good. We think it's our good, but it's not. This disempowers us instead of empowering us. We want to refuse to bow down to materialism and carnality, because there is much greater benefit in spiritual growth. And it doesn't mean you can't have money and stuff, and it doesn't mean you can't have enjoy the senses that God gave you. They were given to us for a reason, and to enhance our lives was one of them. But it ain't what you got, as my dad used to say. It ain't what you got, but it's what you do with it that matters. When you are on your road to spiritual growth, to spiritual maturity, it is the road less traveled. The road of human nature is easy. Anybody can do it. There's no responsibility. You don't have to think about anybody but yourself. You don't have to do anything by yourself. But you're going to find you live in a world that is far less than you would really desire. And if we look for fulfillment of our desires in the manifest realm alone, not spiritually inspired, we're not going to find it. We're just going to find dissatisfaction. They say that drug addicts get that high, that first really whoop-de-doo high, and they try and try for the rest of their drug life to find that high again, and it's never the same. And life is not like that for the spiritually awakened, that we just move to lift our minds and lift our hearts. And it's one of the reasons why having a religion, the religion of your choice, is a good thing, because you are having a spiritual community to help you grow, someone to lean on, someone to call you out when you need to have a little bit of direction. But because it's the road less traveled, it's a little rockier. You have to climb a little harder. But the rewards are way higher. Alrighty. The real price, the hidden agenda of false God, is your bondage to them, because the bondage to them is in lower consciousness. You think you can't live without them. They want to take over your life. Again, this is a state of consciousness. It is not an entity. For me, and I know you hear me doing it all the time, and you're probably tired of hearing about it, but for me, my thing would be, food. That I always say I would like to lose X pounds, and the only reason I do not lose X pounds is because I put X amount of food in my mouth. But that's neither here nor there. That's just an example. The example for others could be TV. It could be just sitting and staring at the TV. It could be beauty. It could be too much exercise and, putting all your worth and value in having a beautiful, gorgeous, model body or something. Doesn't mean you're going to be happy. Finding our own spiritual religious match strengthens our relationship with God. We become a part of a spiritual support system of like-minded others. We live happier, healthier lives. Our spirit is fed as we expand and express and practice our faith, then share it with others. I'm not talking about proselytizing. Don't go there. I'm about just living a good, happy life. And if somebody asks you, what makes you so happy? Or how did you do that? Or how do you handle that? Go ahead and tell them. But I'm not going to tell you you got to be in unity. You got to be in the church that feeds you. But I will guarantee that what I can teach you about unity will enhance your life in whatever church or temple or mosque or whatever you attend. If you are fed and inspired in your church, it's a clear sign you are in the right place. If you don't, I suggest you find a church that resonates with who and what you are, what your inner beliefs are. The most wonderful part is when we are all living the faith that we're called to, the divisions among us will disappear because our love and understanding of others will make us capable of living together in peace and enjoying our diversity. Gosh, I love our diversity. If everybody was like me, it would make me crazy. I'm crazy enough as it is. So I love the diversity. I love the religious diversity. I love other people's faith. I love taking advantage of their rites and rituals. I don't mean taking advantage of. What should I say? It's not like imbibing in, participating in, enjoying the spiritual experience. Jesus said he was in the world, not of it. While this would be a great state to aspire to, and it sounds simple, achieving it is not so easy. Jesus lived from the spiritual and called us to follow him. Most of us live from the human nature. Why? It's easier. It's what we're encouraged to do. It's what, commercials on TV, they play up to our lower nature, don't they? A lot of times the movies, television programs do. We came to transform the human, to learn, transfer our human or carnal nature. I want to share, I know I'm a little bit over, but I want to share a quick story about this weekend and about everybody having their spiritual path. This weekend, my daughter was baptized into the Mormon church. Now, 30 years ago, I would have had an issue with that. But now I am so happy that she found a place where she feels she belongs, where she likes to go, where she goes to church on Sunday, not because somebody told her she had to, but because she wants to. I am so glad that, I am in this state. 30, 40 years ago, that would have made me crazy. I might have been saying, but they're not like unity at all. Or, but you were baptized a Catholic. She was baptized a Catholic. I did tell her, I said, well, do they know you were already baptized once? And she goes, yeah, but they want me. They have their own baptism. And I said, go for it. When she moved to Utah, and I knew there were, it was predominantly Mormon, I was a little, I was thinking, oh, well, what if she decides to join the Mormon church? And you know what I found out? Good for her.